September 2008, a massive Category 4 hurricane threatened to engulf the nation's fourth largest city. Hurricane Ike was gaining strength and barreling through the Gulf of Mexico toward Houston, Texas, home not only to millions of people, but also to many of America's oil refineries and chemical manufacturing facilities. The National Weather Service issued a warning it had only made once before, in Louisiana before Hurricane Katrina.
Good evening. We're going to begin directly here tonight with a quote from the National Weather Service in Houston. It reads, "Persons not heeding evacuation orders in single-family or two-story homes will face certain death."
If Ike hadn't shifted course just 50 miles off the coast, experts believe it would have sent a massive surge up the Houston Ship Channel, a 52-mile-long waterway lined with oil refineries. A storm like that would be catastrophic, not only to Houston's residents, but also to the national economy and the environment. A storm surge could cause chemical and oil storage tanks to leak, spilling hazardous materials into the channel. With nearly $30 billion in damages, Ike was the third costliest storm in U.S. history, but experts believe it could have cost more than 3 times that if it had followed its original trajectory. Let's get a closer look at Houston to see how its unique industry and geography puts it at risk during severe storms. During a hurricane, the ship channel could experience a massive storm surge as wind pushes water into the channel. Oil refineries and petrochemical plants may be inundated and could leak oil and toxic chemicals. Nearby residential areas could be at risk of explosions and chemical spills. To experience the scale of a storm surge, make sure to watch the surge experience. Here is a house in Seabrook, Texas, located on the water near Houston. To protect against flooding, many houses here have been elevated, but there are still many which are not, like the one behind you, and elevated houses may still be at risk. Let's get a closer look at the simulated model house in front of you. One of the major risks of severe hurricanes is a storm surge. A storm surge is essentially a massive wave that is caused by hurricane-force winds pushing water onto the land. During Hurricane Ike, there was a storm surge of about 10 to 13 feet in this area. Scientists have modeled the possible effects of superstorms. One storm model, nicknamed Mighty Ike, has stronger winds and makes landfall about 30 miles southwest of Hurricane Ike. This model predicts a storm surge of nearly 30 feet in the ship channel. A surge of this height would be devastating, and not just to those communities right on the coast. The hurricane's winds would push water from the bay onshore before the storm even arrived, causing flooding. To learn how Houston's oil and chemical industry puts it at risk during severe storms, watch the industry experience. This is the Houston Ship Channel, a 52-mile-long waterway connecting the Gulf of Mexico to the largest refining and petrochemical complex in the U.S. Lining both banks are industrial plants that produce much of the nation's oil and chemicals. Look around to learn more. Here is a closer look at one of these industrial plants. Across the road are a couple of more than 3,400 storage tanks in the region surrounding the ship channel. This area houses the largest concentration of oil, gases, and chemicals in the world. Companies like Vopak and Exxon have complexes here. Less than 1 mile away is the city of Deer Park, which is home to more than 30,000 residents. Because of how close it is to the oil and chemical industry, Deer Park is at particular risk during a severe storm and could experience explosions, fires, and chemical spills. Go to the tank experience to learn how thousands of storage tanks put this area at risk. These storage tanks are a few of the thousands in this area. Companies use tanks like these to store toxic chemicals and oil. During a severe storm, these tanks are at risk of inundation, rupturing, leaking, and even floating away. Look around for some photos of what happened to similar tanks in New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina. These enlarged photos are of a massive oil spill from the Murphy oil tank after it was damaged during Hurricane Katrina. This incident led to a lawsuit and a $330 million settlement for damage and displacement costs. This map shows the area affected by the spill. The color indicates how severe the damage was in that area. Red was heavy, yellow was moderate, and green was light. To learn how severe storms can affect local residents, watch the people experience. Clear Lake is one of the fastest growing areas in the country and is home to more than 140,000 people. Many of the houses in Clear Lake sit on the 100-year floodplain, like that of Chris Shiver, whose grandparents built his house in the 40s.
And here we have our garage. This is the only place where we really suffered significant damage. Everything you see in here would have been 3 feet underwater up to almost my waist. We did lose a refrigerator, hot water heater, washer and dryer.
Across the water is the home of Donald Matter, who was mayor of Nassau Bay during Hurricane Ike.
This house you're in now had 33 inches of water in it for 2.5 days. So figure about here on down, including the piano, right up to the keyboard was underwater. Nassau Bay is a very unique community. We have water on 3 sides and Nassau Road on the other side. I was mayor during Katrina, Rita, and Ike. Everything was gutted. Sheetrock was taken up 4 feet. So all the carpet, everything was taken out. It was washed out, swept out, vacuumed out, washed out with Clorox and water, decontaminated, dried out, then started putting it back from scratch again. I started raising my house in March of 2015 on a FEMA grant through the Texas State Water Board, through the city of Nassau Bay. And they choose your house by how much damage you've had over what time period. I've raised the house up 10 feet. I had to raise it a minimum of 9 feet. This house is at 18.4 feet above sea level right now.
According to real estate broker John Nugent, despite the risk, the area still continues to attract people.
Flooding and hurricanes are an issue, and the people who live by the water assess the risk, and they take their chances.
To see more photos of the area after Hurricane Ike, check out the before and after experience. In 2008, Hurricane Ike devastated Houston, causing almost $30 billion in damages and becoming the 3rd costliest storm in U.S. history. Look around to see photos taken just after Hurricane Ike and what Houston looks like now, 8 years later.